on Christmas Eve. All right, we have got a very long section here, and it's like one slide, very long section. There are three ways to value the property. Depending on what property it is, and I'm going to have you write this in your book. For you listening at home, write this in your book. For you out here, write this in your book. Because depending on what type of property it is going to tell you which one of these approaches they would use. The first approach I want to talk about is called the sales comparison approach. This is based on the principle of substitution, what I just told you. Now, this is where the art comes in, and it really makes me mad because I'm not very artistic. So a client calls you and says, I want you to list my property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot on 1 acre, built in 1991. And we have talked about this before. It is a advanced warning, so you get the chance to go out and look and pull your comps, and we're going to do our CMA. And what we're looking for are closed or listed. Which one do you think was more important, closed houses or listed houses? Closed houses. Closed houses represent market price. Listed houses represent market value, because people could list at anything. So we want to know what the price of some of these properties have sold. That's going to help us determine our value now. What you hope you see is a 3-bedroom, 1,500 square foot house, 1 acre, built in 1991, sold for $154,000, and a second 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,500 square feet, on 1 acre, built in 1991, sold for $159,000. This is what I call the perfect storm. This is the exact definition of the principle of substitution. I can find an exact house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot on 1 acre, built in 1999, fits exactly the house that my client wants to sell. It's real easy for me to go back to my client and go, okay, based on the comps, the value of your home is somewhere between $154,000 and $159,000. Where would you like to start listing the property? And they always say $181,000. Maybe you missed what I told you. It's between $154,000 and $159,000. But I got to pay my credit card off. I won't want it. You realize that has nothing to do with the value of your home. But I digress. So when you pull comps, the first thing you look at is geography. Standard rule of thumb is 1 mile. And our MLS system has a really cool feature now. You can take the mouse and put it on the house, and pull a circle out for 1 mile, let it go. It'll draw a circle around that house and show you every house that's listed and sold and pinned inside of that circle. Now you know exactly which ones to use. All right? Now, here's the problem. Here's where art comes in. Your license legally allows you to sell from Jeffersonville to Fort Wayne. Your intelligence should not. And I already told you that if you guys knew the value of the property in King Park in Fort Wayne. I don't know, I made that up. That's the point. Because while 1 mile is the rule of the thumb, you have to be smart enough to understand that I can't always do that. You guys know where Fletcher Place is? Okay. Maybe I made a mistake. Is that Martin Luther King and 10th Street? What's that one? What is that neighborhood? Is it right there by the hospital and IUPUI and all that? Yeah. You go 1 mile, you're in Hallville. So you'd say, ooh, I can't do that. 71st and Meridian, the governor's mansion. You go 4 or 5 blocks over, you're at 71st and like Oakland. They actually issue you a gun when you close there. All right? So you have to understand that while a mile might be cool because Raymond said it was, there are certain things you can't do. 34th and Talbot is on the south side of the river. You go to 44th and Talbot, whole different story. So you've got that natural boundary of White River. Okay. So I can do a mile, but I can't really go that way. Or I can't go that way. Or I can't go into so-and-so. So that's where the art comes in. You do a house in the country, there may not be another house for a mile. So you may have to go 5 or 10 miles out. Once again, that's where the art comes in. But geography is the most common, very first thing you look at. I want a mile within that, my house. And then right now the rule of thumb is 6 months back. I want to look at any house that's closed within the last 6 months. That's a pretty good indication. Then we start looking at all the stuff. 3 bedrooms, baths, square footage, basement, garages, land. Nowhere did you hear me say backsplash, type of appliances, one of those really cool body showers in the shower. It's because you don't comp on that stuff. You know, and you'll hear people all the time go, yeah, but I've got it. Okay, well, how do I know that these 2 that I saw that were sold also don't have that in there? Without me going in to look, I don't know that. And you certainly aren't going to call that owner and go, hey, I want to come look at your house. You can try.
But with that, though, if a house has, like, carpet that has stains all over it, cabinets that are, like, half missing.
Yes. And then now we're back into that. You know, there are people go, well, the comps show 154 to 159. Let's go back to this example. I can see the interior pictures on these 2 listings. My client, like you said, is missing half the cabinets. The dog has peed all over the carpet. Now is where you have to, once again, use the art of, dude, 154 to 159. They're like, oh, I really want to get that. No, time out. That's a house in perfect condition. You don't have that house. You've got about $8,000 worth of repairs, so your 154 to 159 is actually 142.
Because just for myself, because you're just saying that it's, even though they may have done a lot of updates, that doesn't really equate to the value, but the overall condition.
Yes, the overall condition can, but what I'm telling you is you will get people that go, oh, where'd my phone go? Okay, I thought it said that was my other son calling. Maybe he went to get the first son. Sure, wherever we were with that. The overall condition can affect it, but what I'm saying is it traditionally doesn't increase it.
No.
Yeah, and you will get people that say that, oh, Mary Elizabeth down the street sold her house and I'm a much better housekeeper, which I literally have heard that. I had one old lady tell me that I'm a much better housekeeper than her, so her house should sell for more.
Well, it's just because I've done comps multiple times, so just like in certain areas, like you'll have 2 drastically different types of house on the same street, like especially the places that are being revitalized.
Oh, yeah.
You have a house that's been completely renovated, but if the client doesn't tell you or if you don't have any information on what the condition or what
Once again, back to the art. That's why it's an art. What's the one you just, Fountain Square right now is a tough one. Because you have a $400,000 house right next to a $40,000 house. And the $40,000 house in 4 months from now may be $400,000 because they're repairing it. So yeah, that's where the art comes in though. That's what you hope to find is when you see that. Now, the one that's being rehabbed though, you have no idea because it's not on the MLS. And unless you're going to go out driving around, which you can, but most agents will not, you're not even aware of that house. So, yes, the overall condition can play a part, but what I'm telling you is it does not change the value much. And that's, you brought up a good point. That is true. Maybe I'll rescind that statement. It can change the value. It never will increase it. It's not going to make my 154 to 159 because he's got ceramic backsplash and all that. Could make it lower. But we're not even to the hard part yet. because this is the perfect storm. What you most likely will see is this. He wants you to sell his 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on a 1,500 square foot ranch on 1 acre built in 1991, and what you have found is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,500 square feet on 1.1 acre that sold for $154. And here's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but it's actually 1,700 square feet, built in 2001 at $159. So now I've got to modify those or normalize them so I can figure out my value. So if it's a 2.5 bath at $154, I've got to deduct some money off to bring it down to a 2-bath. How much is half a bath worth? I don't know. Is it half a bath on Geist or a half a bath in Hallville? Here's where the art really starts to bite you. And that's what I'm saying. You should have your area of expertise where you go, oh, I've listed 20 houses in Center Grove. Half a bath is about $5,000 in value. Okay, so that 154 now becomes 151, 149 rather. 154 minus 5 is 149. If that same house only had 2 baths, it would be a 149 house. And this one here is a bigger house. How much is 200 square feet and it's newer? Oh, let's bring that down to 153. So now my client's house is between 149 and 153. That's what you're going to end up doing, because very seldom will you find a direct substitution. You will in which cases? Which cases would a direct substitution work that you will see? Throw and go neighborhoods. Cookie cutters, Vinyl Village. I love throw and goes. They throw them and go. That will work really well because, hey, that's a Davis home, that's a Davis home, it's probably the same floor plan. So the principle of substitution in your book, I want you to write homes with an existing history. Homes with a history. Homes I can look up and see what they sold for and track them back so many different times. Homes with a history. All right, let's stop the audio and move to the next one.